My my desire for this next 10 years is to retire. I won't retire fully because I don't think that's what I can do, but I want to build my enterprise of my construction business up to about 30 to 40 houses of my rentals. Sorry, not my construction. To have a construction company that's working on its own, to have a media business that invites other talent to come in and we hold them in our studios, to have an online business selling goods and wares to everyone for everything, and to sit at the head of that by having key personnel that run the business for me. So I'll never retire, but I'll frequent in and out of a business. The aim really is not to have sales any higher than 10 million a year. That includes the construction and the rentals and the onlines and the media. I really don't want to go mad. If it was money or passive income, I'm happy to take more, such as the YouTube. If we do very well from the YouTube, the idea really is, so I'm not the only talent that's grown this. So I'll be the first one, and I'm not really called a talent. I'm just showing what I do, and I'm hoping that I get paid for it. And that money's going to reinvest into other people, not me. Because remember, no entrepreneur has money in their account. And if they do, they're not a business person. People think that, you should have millions in the account. Well, that's not the case. You should have millions in assets, millions in stock, millions in investment of money, making money. A lot of these people think that you should save. No, invest. Throughout my entire time, even when I was a kid, what did I do? If you look at it, I made money by fixing tires at the age of 6 and 7. I had a puncture repair kit. I then started making money of that puncture repair kit. If I needed to refill it, I invested in going and buy more puncture repair kits, or buying inner tubes, or buying an asset such as a pump. That's what you do. At a basic, childish level, that's how you do it. You do it at a large scale. So the way I see it is I have to repair my last 20 years, show the people that I let down that I am a good person, and prove to myself that I can do this. And so far, so good. We were all a part of the success. Everyone that's going to be involved with me, if they want to be very successful people, in whatever gauge they wish to choose, they will do it under my mentoring. Ultimately, that's what we're about. Podcast is next for the growth. And we were talking about the politics stuff. I will try to change people's understanding of an entrepreneur. You mentioned earlier that a businessman has gone through life with something dodgy. I think it's societal failure that creates a dodginess in a businessman. You're no longer celebrated for being a business person. You're condemned. You're looked down upon as a person who is dodgy. And therefore, if the perception is that a business person is dodgy, then they're kind of dodgy. You get treated that way. The government is set up to fail you. They're not there to promote you. It doesn't matter how many schemes they've got. They will not do you good. The government will not succeed you. Your ability to understand the rules and circumvent issues that are raised by government standards is how you succeed. For years, taxation was my problem until I got how you properly avoid paying tax. Not evade, avoid. there's this book that thick that has all the rules, the plans, the understandings on how we make tax efficient. I used to remember years ago having a massive tax bill and going, why have I no money to pay this? It was set up to fail me. And when you fail, there's a government department will take every single one of your assets off you and they'll sell it for a penny in the pound. That's what they're there to do. They're not to help you avoid bankruptcy. Yeah, I agree. And that one, that's a great point, Joel. And this is a short, by the way. The schools aren't there to teach you to be an entrepreneur. It's the ones who get away from school that actually become naturally entrepreneurs. If you look at all the failures in school, most of them are business people. Because it's easy to be an entrepreneur. It actually is. It's not so easy to be a slave to industry. It's easy to be free. I was free from a very early age. I was free from school sanctions because I was expelled. So I was allowed to explore myself. But if you look at how a school teaches you, they teach you to pass exams. They teach you to comply. And that's what it's about. The school is a compliancy education disguised as an education for you to succeed. But all they're doing for you is to teach you to become a businessman's slave. And it works because there's only so many business people can be successful. However, if you think about America, America's great. I love America and how they grow and incubate even the smallest micro business. Every teacher has a second job. Did you know this? It's great. My travels around America, paid by George W. Bush through a program for Northern Ireland business people to travel America, I got to meet so many local people, teachers, ministers. They all got their own little micro jobs, micro businesses. What do you do? Oh, I print cards. Look at these cards. I print them from my printer. Or I sell jam. Or I sell secondhand goods. And I just realized America's beautiful for celebrating industry, celebrating trade, celebrating commerce. You're congratulated for making your first dollar. Congratulated. You're also congratulated for making your first bankruptcy. You're congratulated. They have parties for bankruptcy now. You avoid it. You don't set out to be a bankrupt. But it happens. And the majority of the times, it's caused by your inability to pay a bill and not having enough structure to pull you out of it. There's so many people in this world facing bankruptcy today. There's so many people in this country of Northern Ireland that are facing bankruptcy today. Business people who have a really successful company, but have lost it because of society, the government, and the people that are involved in the bankruptcy proceedings against this supplier, customer, or otherwise. Nobody's willing to negotiate. Just put it to the courts. Let the courts decide. And they would judge into the debtor. They would judge for the debtor or for the person who's owed the debt. Yeah? The claimant will win when a debt is owed and it's not paid reasonably. It's not fair. You should say, Your Honour, I'm a businessman. I need time. I need help. The financial departments don't give it. The finances or the banks don't care about me because I'm just a barber. But I know if you give me a year, I will have this paid. But ultimately, it's always wound up. There's not enough collaboration anymore. There's not enough. It's just pay me or die. The biggest killer throughout the UK of every business is who?
Government?
Yeah, but what department?
Tax.
Tax, you say. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It's not. The HMRC are the kindest people because they know they have to collect tax of who? The wealth makers, me. Not you. You're not a wealth maker because you earn money from my wealth. I'm the wealth maker. So they have to look after me, and they have to be patient when I say, I can't pay your tax bill this month. I'll pay it next month and I'll try and advance it on. If you get into arrears, you start getting slaps and get fined. And that's fair. To me, they have a process of dealing where we can't kill what we need to collect. Am I right? HMRC are brilliant. So no, they are the gentlemen, the gentle people in the official partnership of the government collections departments. No, the murderer of business, the killer of business is the rates offices, the tax offices. They will wind you up and close your business down in your absence if you haven't paid a bill over £3,500. So if you've got £1 million of assets and you owe them £3,500 and you failed to pay them, they will bankrupt you. They'll close your business down. And then the whole thing starts within seconds. You'll have a bankruptcy petitioner down, or filing a judicial representative. Maybe he's private, so a privateer will come down and say, I'm representing your bankruptcy. There's your bankruptcy thing. We're coming in to take everything. Oh, but it's only for £3,500. Nope, we're taking $1 million. There's nothing. They will close you and they will finish you on a £3,500 bill. If you fight it, they can still win and you will face bankruptcy. You could try and turn it. You got a week to turn it. I mean, I can pay a £3,500 bill. But there's times when you say, no, I'm not paying that. And it's unreasonable or unethical for you to collect this money. Because they are the government. Doesn't make them reasonable. And I will say to the viewers and you, if the Inland Revenue or the government come to you with a bill, it's a civil bill. And you can civilly dispute it. You say, no, I'm not paying that. You're not worth it. And it's up to you to fight it in court. Yes, they may win because they've got the courts on their side, because the courts are supposed to be free from government abuse, but they're not, because the government ultimately pays for them. So the judicial system is partially ran and controlled by the government. The rates office rent a judge and a room, and they go in with a big list of people they want to wind up, bankrupt, or petition for bankruptcy. Rates office in Northern Ireland are the murderer of industry. And they murder it. They murder industry. They killed me. They kept on. The stress levels were so phenomenal, facing daily continual requests for rates payments for shop A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I ended up getting a bad reputation within the rates collection office where they knew my name in by default. The second hardest ones were who? You wouldn't believe this. Who were the second biggest killers of industry? Energy companies. The minute you can't afford to pay a bill, they come in and they have the power to switch off your electric. Put you in the dark. Don't negotiate. They immediately put down threats of representatives coming down to pretend that they're going to shut down while you're sitting trying to sell a product to a customer. So if you owed £1,000 in electric bill and they came in with a representative, because again, you're too ashamed to tell it. How many millions of business owners are out there who have had that problem? None of you talk about it. I will. I had it. And I had it. I had people coming in saying, we're from the electricity board, we're coming to turn off your supply. What? You didn't pay the bill last month. I haven't got the money. We're just not making enough money this month. Nope, tough. And they will shut it down if they can get access to it. Where's your electric board? I can't let you do it. Well, we're just going to call the police and I'm going to shut it down. But they can. They could come in and because you allow them access to the door. The door is a public access. So if the door's not sealed, they're allowed to walk in and turn off the electricity supply. But they are the biggest killer, second biggest killer, because they're so indiscriminate. They're so intolerant, like the rates office. They have power to control commerce. There should be rules. And that both of them two people should be ruled on how to avoid and help and endure situations like that, where businesses who are struggling at the moment and are trying very hard to regain their business. Any businessman is not going to sit there and go, nah, it's going to do nothing. The minute you're hit with the issues, the third biggest, who's that? The water service or the water department. They're terrible. They pretend that they're a government business, but they're a private company, the Water Board of Northern Ireland. So what we need to do is we need to have more policy and regulation to prevent these bastards from taking your business unnecessarily. Now, if the business isn't doing well and you find no way out, you have a way of dissolving the business yourself. And most business people who can no longer afford to run their business due to whatever reason that stops them from doing business. It could be an end of a bubble, it could be an end of a technology boom, it could be that society has changed their mind and they no longer want to buy coffee, they want to go to tea. And ultimately business was failed because of society. It's never just your doing. It's just sometimes the industry changes and you didn't change with the industry. That's why a lot of these retail companies come and go, purely because society changes. And what happens is responsible MDs or responsible owners will wind the business up. It happens. ISPs are no longer the way they are. I would have had to have wound up that business years ago if I didn't sell it. Someone else wound the business up recently. Clothes businesses. If you're doing vintage clothes, it will last for a couple of years and go down. What's the biggest loser in society? Can anyone tell me? What's the biggest losing industry in the entire consumer side of selling? Retail and food. Food restaurants will fail. They will never last. Because once a person is at there, they move to the next restaurant. Very few people go back to the same restaurant all the time. And people depend on the high yield of turnover for the table covers. Nobody sets up a restaurant for 12 people. They set it up for 100 people. And they've staffed it for 100 people. And they've fooded it for 100 people. So they've got supplies food for 100 covers. Ultimately, it will fail. Because what happens is, and that's why you see in the high street, restaurants coming and going. Maybe the same owner, different fit out, different restaurant, same food, but just different front, a different furniture, a different sign on the front door. Same restaurant owner, same food, same chefs, same staff. That's a proper restaurateur. What happens is a lot of people focus in on their food, stay at it, stay with the brand, realize it's not going anywhere, close it down. That's a bad restaurateur. But they end up winding the business up. Or the rates office will force them to wind the business up. So this is it. We'll talk more about more if you want, but we're done.